We talk football and current events, sitting and chatting with the very best guests, with two Scottish boys and we're loving it. So if you like witty banter, check the former #1 podcast on iTunes, Sitting and Chatting.
Hello and welcome back to the Sitting and Chatting podcast. I'm Liam Whyte.
Aye, and I'm fucking Thayjamieallan. I'm confused as fuck. What the fuck? Surely this is the instrument. What the fuck?
Nah, we're going to go with it.
Fuck's sake. Almost 100 episodes in, man. The country's gave up.
No, I've never given up. As since why, we've struggled to find the time to record this week, but we've done it. We've kept it to it. As well, as of today, this is now 5 weeks in a row we've been going.
Numbers are just a number, mate.
5 weeks? 5 months?
I kind of thought you were talking shit there. I just
I appreciate it. But, yeah, no. Well, I mean, here, listen. Most consistent podcast, I reckon, under 100 subscribers, I reckon. I'm willing to throw that out there. I reckon that's our title.
You're a nutter.
I bet there's going to be someone else who's going to point out to me. Someone's been doing like 1,000 episodes in a row every week and they've got like one subscriber. But never mind. We're here. I don't know. How are you doing, to be honest? I'm quite tired.
After the day I just had, man, fuck me. Brutal. Yeah. But I need to pick up my wee sister at fucking 11 o'clock tonight, so that's fun and games.
Oh no, and you're the big man as well, telling me how you'd be in bed by 10 as well yesterday.
I'm fucking raging, but anyway. We move. Nah, but work was busy, but a pain in the ass, but is what it is. We move. Yeah,
and tomorrow.
Unfortunately, aye. I'm in for the remainder of the week till Saturday, Sunday, and then I'm off. So...
If I wasn't on a health kick, I was actually going to have a beer and let beer roles reverse for once. But, I'm trying to be healthy again, go for a run. Well, I say go for a run after this. It'll be like fucking 11 o'clock at night before I go for a run.
It will be late.
And there we go, table service. Just like in the pub.
Lovely.
I can fucking see the steam coming up in your camera.
Jealous he's never suited you.
Go on, show the camera. Where you got?
We got a fucking theejamieallan, mate. Imagine I just went fucking whiffed away the fucking light, but
that would have been.
It would have been you paying for it for making me fucking show the camera. Absolutely.
You're the big man earning the big commission that you can pay for.
You should just fucking move on anyway, because you're doing my fucking heathen. But you're fucking slavering. Right, I'm going to try to eat this and talk at the same time, so.
I mean, that's never stopped you in the past, so.
Right, that's enough of that part.
Bye. Okay. Thankfully, we found out a topic just before that we started this, so we can both relate to, which, considering we've known each other for about the same amount of time the show's been out, it's kind of surprising. But obviously, Line of Duty finished on Sunday there.
And the season finished.
Well, the season finished, but they're sort of saying that's the end, apparently. It's meant to be the end. I mean, I've watched it on and off from the start. I've seen it when the first season came out, and then I've sort of like gone back and watched it in bits and bobs, like as the years have gone on. Have you watched it as well from the start? Is that a recent thing you've started watching?
No, I watched it for the start.
And shall we say the ending was quite controversial?
The ending, if nobody knows, spoilers coming up.
Yeah, shall we explain quickly what the show is actually about, I suppose?
Well, I mean, if you don't know, you're embarrassing. But basically, it's a show about an anti-corruption unit within the police department. And basically, each season is dedicated to a situation that arises. Once the police have read the reports and then filed their reports, an anti-corruption unit gets it and they look over it, make sure everything's in order. And there's always kind of some inconsistencies with one or two, and it's their job to follow up the leads, such as, say that surveillance on a certain suspect was pulled too early and it led to something else happening. That sort of thing would be investigated
It's very it's obviously dramatized for the effects of TV, but
of course.
They always, from what I can see, and having Polish in my family as well, they've sort of made it clear that like a lot of it is actually quite down to earth and quite realistic. I mean, there's a lot of like Polish talk in it that you wouldn't like. No one has a fucking clue what they're trying to say, like because they're using like code words and whatever. And a lot of what makes it great, because there's action in it, but I would say the action's very much secondary in the show. You do occasionally get like the big shouts and car chase and all that, but I think for me at least, what made it great throughout the years was like the interviews that they'd always have with like, if not the bad guy of the series, just like a random Polish.
Aye.
And they are honestly like some of them can like last like 30 minutes and the show can be like an hour long, so it takes up like a majority of the time, and they're so tense and so like in depth because obviously as a viewer you've been sort of keeping up with it at the time and like where it's going, if there's going to be a twist or something like that, and it's just great to watch.
So, but the show in general is based on the anti-corruption unit and the kind of undercover secrets. The whole show boils down into there is organised crime within the ranks of the police department. Organised crime, and then it's all been run within corrupted police officers. So it becomes Anti-Corruption Unit 12 to deduce who is behind everything.
So every season there's always like a main bad guy of that season, but across the whole 6 seasons and 10 years that the show's been going on, it's sort of as well, there's been like this subplot in the background of how it's all how every sort of storyline that they feature is all connected. And to be fair, like as well in season 6, there's good evidence of it, like all this connections between the different series, and characters that you've not heard in like about 8 years get brought up and you're like, fuck, who's that again?
Yeah.
So it does get a show, to me at least, that there is elements of planning all this out from the very start. And I will say, like, when it came back this year, I think it was constantly the most talked about show, at least in the UK at the time. Yeah, and then the final episode dropped on Sunday there, and
it's controversial.
What was your feelings towards it? Is it as bad as everyone's saying? Because I mean, you've never seen.
So this isn't like your Game of Thrones.
Aye, I was gonna say, did you ever watch that?
No, but I understand.
Yeah,
like Game of Thrones was a proper shit ending. It wasn't worth watching the other seasons.
Yeah.
Because of how bad the ending was. Whereas with Line of Duty, the other seasons were great to watch. And the story's not finished yet, is what I will keep saying to people. So, like,
are you adamant that they're going to do another one?
1000%.
Do you think that would just be though because of how bad the ending's been received
No.
do you think they
so I spoke to James, who I used to work with. He says the ending's shite. I just agreed with him. But they have fired it onto somebody like Ian Buckles, or is it Ian?
Yeah, Ian Buckles.
Ian Buckles, who's a dopey chief of station character. He runs part of the joint, and they've just fired. Like, he's came in and admitted everything. Basically, says he's made a mockery out of everyone. Total bullshit.
I don't know what you're moving, by the way, around on the table, but it's making a fuck ton of noise on the microphone.
Right now?
Not anymore, but it was a second ago.
But he came in, he got interviewed based on the fact his spelling was consistent with, the top man of the organised crime, which is all well and good. However, they're thrown onto a character like Ian Buckles for a reason. And it's not because he's the top man and that's the season or that's the whole thing done. It's because, if you remember correctly, at the start of the season 7, there was a time where he got put into the cells, and then the boy came in and strangled the other boy, He says that's what happens to a rat. Now, if you're telling me he's went into the jail cell, seen that happen, he's been told to take the blame for everything. So the AC-12 stop investigating.
That's making a fuck ton of noise again.
What the fuck? I don't even know what it is. I'm going to move something. Hold on. Is it still there or is it?
No, it stopped at the moment.
Cool. He's basically took I think he's been told to take the fall, so the Anti-Corruption Unit 12 stop investigating, and something's going to happen, and season 8 is going to unveil more truths.
I see though what sort of, because there was a clear indication to me that they were trying to make it a representation of like current government in that way, that this, you know, competent buffoon is in charge running the whole show, and even though he's doing a terrible job and it's clear and obvious for all, like you can't get him because the institution is so corrupt from head to toe and you can't eradicate it.
Yeah,
that was the way I seen it personally, but I do see what you're saying. But what I found interesting was, because I mean, to be honest, right, I don't usually give a fuck about like what fans say about the shows. Like, you know, it's like I find some theories interesting, especially with a show like this. And I mind after the first episode when he came in and he was like just basically a character in the background in the first episode. Someone posted on Twitter at the very end. Sorry, if you're not seeing the show, so going to mean much to you, but they posted after the very first episode a picture of when Ryan, the young police officer, had been influenced by organised crime, when he's sitting in the cells, when he's finally been caught in the last episode of season 1. It's Ian Buckles that interviews him.
Is it?
Yeah, it's actually like says like, "Hi, I'm Detective Ian Buckles. Nice to meet you," sort of thing. And it's like, it's actually mad though that they've planned that out from the start going forward, sort of thing.
Well, I seen he's definitely involved in the organised crime.
Oh yeah,
he was definitely pulling strings. He's not the top man though. Like, you even seen it. I don't know if you remember way back at the start, like ages ago. He was in the office on the phone and he was like waving his golf club about.
Yeah, the caddy, and he's got like the golf clubs,
which goes back to Tommy Hunter, and you know, there's caddy being Doc Cotton. Like all this does amount to the fact that they used to play golf together or whatever. There's a connection there, 1000%, but there's no fucking danger he's the top man.
You're 100% certain.
I am so adamant, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you're the only one as well, that is. But no, I mean, look, don't get me wrong, they've left potentially enough avenues open to do another one. At this point.
That's what I think they've done.
I think, though, that's just more done deliberately from them, and just in case they want to come back. But I think, put it this way, if they don't now, though, and that's it, don't get me wrong, I didn't love the ending. I actually really loved the season up to that point. Mm-hmm. The ending isn't great. Right? Like, the last episode on its own isn't great, but it's not as bad as what people are making out to be, in my opinion. And it might just be, even though I love the show, I maybe wasn't invested all throughout the whole 10 years sort of thing. I went back and watched it at different points. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was a wee bit disappointed to see it was him, but at the end of the day, if they'd done it to be in a way, it was almost more obvious though, if they'd done the whole Philip Osborne thing, you know, the main police chief. Yeah. I think it would have been a lot more obvious and predictable of them if they went down that road and made it him.
Definitely.
But that's saying that it's not guaranteed that it's finished yet. I think it's looking increasingly likely that it is, but there's been no confirmation, I don't think, yet. No. But either way, like, it's still a great show, and it's definitely not like the worst TV ending ever. Is like some.
No, it's definitely worth the watch.
100%, especially now as well. They don't have to wait, like, because it's like usually 2 or 3 years a season. So yeah, definitely give it a watch. And do you know what the worst part as well was, right? I didn't know until about 3 weeks ago that Steve Arnott or Mark Compton is
Scottish.
Yeah,
I don't know
he's Scottish. Nah, but like, to be fair though, give me credit, he does hide his accent well.
Aye, but
yeah,
it's I don't know. I thought it was just clear as day.
Yeah, I mean, I just never looked into it before, and then I seen the video of when Scott qualified for the Euros, and he's just there with a bottle of champagne, like, get the fuck in. I'm just like, where the fuck did that accent come from?
I know. It was on a TV show the other night as well. Him and Kate Flyman had a real name.
Fuck, what is her name? That's getting annoying. I'm gonna have to look that up.
They were on a TV show talking about it the other day, or the other night. Maybe not.
When they're on Jonathan Ross and that.
Jonathan Ross, that's it.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely worth the watch.
Vicky McClure, that's it.
Aye. It's no shite. It's not as bad an ending as Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth a watch.
Do you have an opinion? Do you have an opinion, by the way, of like what the most like? Have you ever? I know you're not a massive like TV guy, but have you ever watched something, thought it was great at the start, and then thought by the end it was completely ruined by you?
Nah.
Never. Have you ever like? So I was trying to think because obviously it's now Line of Duty is now being brought into the question of is it the most disappointing TV finale of all time sort of thing. And I think like looking back on it, like for me personally, I mean I've not been too disappointed by shows. I've never watched Game of Thrones, but obviously I'm glad now I didn't bother.
Exactly.
I will say, to be fair to them, there's not many shows that stick the landing that well. I mean, I always think of back, like, have you ever seen like Breaking Bad?
Aye.
Yeah, like that's like the one example for me that like finished better than it started, if that makes sense. Like it got better each season, but it's usually most shows like have like a peak and then they kind of fall off by the end. I think what else? I mean, Friends was considered a pretty great ending when it happened. The one that sticks out in my head was How I Met Your Mother. Because I mean that's also in the sort of same discussion as the most hated TV shows of all time. Have you ever seen that, or most hated endings rather?
I've seen episodes of it.
I mean, like it's.
Is that with the guy? He died a couple of years ago.
Which guy?
Was the one of the main characters?
Nah, as far as I'm aware, all the main characters are still alive.
What's the show I'm thinking?
I don't know.
Charlie? No, no Charlie. It's in like one of the Americans' fucking sitcom shite.
Seinfeld? Cheers?
Nah. Fuck no, it's just going to actually drive me fucking mental as well.
Just Google it. American comedy.
He was a rich cunt. I think he died to the drugs. Charlie something.
Charlie Sheen?
Charlie Sheen, aye, that
he's no deed.
Charlie Sheen's dead.
No, he's not.
Oh no, Liam, hold on a wee bloody minute, Tearson.
Yeah, he's alive.
No.
Yes, Jimmy.
Who am I thinking of?
I've no fucking clue you're thinking it. He done that big interview about 10 years ago where like he was sort of saying, you know, like I'm a tiger, you know, like when he got sacked from 2.5 Men.
2.5 Men, that's the show.
Yeah, I know you're thinking of that.
I thought I could have sworn he was dead.
Just presumed he was dead.
I know. That's fair. Did he get put back? I fuck knows what happened to him. Something big happened to him a couple of years ago, no?
Not that I can remember. I remember when he done that 2.5 Men thing. That was like the last big thing I remember him doing.
Fuck knows.
Either way, so in terms of like disappointing TV ends, I think you get shows like Breaking Bad, which are like the complete opposite. They've sort of done amazing. You get maybe shows like Line of Duty, if that is the end that we're saying. You know, definitely a wee bit disappointing, but not like awful. But like How I Met Your Mother for me as well, and I think most folk agree. Well, I'm actually going to give a bit of a controversial opinion on the show. I think the last season was great. I think the last season was very good. And I think of How I Met Your Mother. And then I think I literally think it's the entire last 15 minutes of How I Met Your Mother like ruined the ending of it, which is quite an incredible feat for like
yeah, definitely. I think
But
you praise
that's
him
what-
really, other than slag them. You've got to praise him for that.
Yeah, but it's weird though, because that's also a show that from the very start planned out how the ending was going to be. So like they wrote it all down at the very start. They had all the kid actors and that, like them and the main actors were the only folk that ever knew.
Yeah.
They told them they acted out all their scenes and that. But as the show went on, it didn't fit the tone or like the story plots that they've written. So then they were then forced into a shitty ending that no one liked because they came up with it 10 years ago, which didn't work. But you get a show like Line of Duty, which came up with great ideas 10 years ago, wrote out, and for the most part, they pulled it off brilliantly.
Right, 100%. I think the ending. people are thinking it's the ending's been rushed due to COVID and filming times and stuff. I feel as though that's nonsense, and they're making an excuse for it, and they want it to come back. I genuinely believe it will come back, but it's a matter of waiting. But if you have watched it and you are struggling to figure out something else to watch in the same sort of kind of genre, watch Bodyguard.
Yeah, that's great. That's only one season as well, so that's that's what, like 6 episodes it'll be.
And it'll keep you going. It's a great show as well.
Yeah. I mean, there was talk a while of the boy that played that was going to be the next Bond.
I think he's also Scottish, isn't he?
Yes, that's what makes him good, Jamie. It's all about the Scots.
They're a couple of good shows. But I mean, obviously, it was always going to get mixed. Like when I first seen it, I was like, this is not right. And then I just went back, thought about it. I was like, no way this is ending. It can't be. And I don't know if that's me telling myself that, but I've got things to back it up.
Be honest though, if that is the end, will you then say it's incredibly disappointing?
I would say it's disappointing. I wouldn't say it's incredibly disappointing. Yeah. It's not something that's made me go, fucking regret watching everything.
I think as well the problem's been, like, see if the whole season had been shite on the lead up, I don't think folk would have been as mad, if that makes sense. But I think because like every episode I've like gone online and seen like folks say it just gets better and better, so I think that's what's maybe.
I think there's absolutely no way that Doc Cotton in his dying declaration has done 4 H's and they're not going to follow up with a 4th. Like, there's fucking no way.
Well, Ian Buckles is meant to be the 4th. That's what they were saying.
Aye, but that. H was designated by name.
No, because there was that lassie from the previous season that didn't have a H in their name.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean,
what's the ones? There's 3 being caught. So Hunter. Well, that's it. Corruption wise, so like, inside Hastings was one, wasn't he?
No, Hastings was not.
Hastings he got killed at the depot.
No, Hastings like
No Hastings, sorry. What's the one that was? He was in charge of the murder investigation team.
The one for the very first episode.
Hargreaves,
right?
There was Hargreaves. There was. Oh my fucking god!
Do you know what I will say though to you, right? Actually, see, before I watched the 6th season, I was like, I haven't seen this show in 3 years. I do not fucking remember what happened. And there's like there's genuinely the BBC went on YouTube and made like a 5-minute like explanation of like every season, just so you know, just because they knew no cunt's gonna understand this.
Hold on, I need to find out who these are.
this podcast is just you and me talking about these random cunts on a TV show that no one's probably ever seen. That was another thing. That was another thing, by the way. Do you know how many viewers the final episode got?
How many?
13 million viewers.
That's big time.
That's like, to put into perspective, I think that's something, I think I read somewhere that's in like the top 20 most viewed things live at one time ever in the UK. Which is fucking mental to think about. There
was ACC Hilton.
All right.
Now the person you're thinking about is Jill Bigelow.
Yeah, aye.
She wasn't considered as a hate show. She was because she got witness protection, mind. So she was considered like the same as Doc Cotton. like the caddy, she was like another one of those.
Ah, right, okay. I thought she was a H as well. Right.
I've no idea who the third is. Though. Maybe she is, but it literally says here that Jill Bigelow was like Doc Cotton's predecessor, which were the so AC2 identifies these Doc Cotton, Jill Bigelow, Derek Hilton, and one more senior person. So they're claiming Doc Cotton as one as well. I don't know, but I thought it was based on their names.
Yeah, I thought originally that's what it was as well, and I think they've done that deliberately because obviously Hastings, as in like I think they've done that deliberately to make folks think, oh, I wonder if it is him, and obviously it was never going to be him. But...
Then you had the wee 50 grand scandal, and you were oh.
No, it was. I mean, to be fair to him, it would have been very hypocritical of him and his character if he didn't come back at the end and admit it.
Aye, well, it's a great show.
Yeah, I got
worth a watch.
Go and watch it. It will take you a fucking long time because 6 seasons, 6 episodes. So you've got 36 hours worth of TV to get through. So get started.
Worth every fucking minute.
Up until the last hour.
Potentially.
Right, now on to everyone's favourite topic that watches these podcasts, and we've got them in for 20 minutes, so we're safe now. Football.
Football, here we go.
Now, obviously, prior to the events of what happened, Sky Sports and other pundits alike were taking obviously a week off social media for the talk, for obviously to fight the inequalities and racism and problems with social media. And obviously I bet most of them were spitting about it because then on the day of the Man United Liverpool, I obviously didn't see anything on my phone. I get home, I turn on my TV a minute before kickoff. I think, right, enjoy myself here. And I say, wait, what? Games not games postponed at the time, but I just seen there's fans just walking all across Old Trafford, just throwing flares and going mental. I'm just like, oh, something's happened here.
In the stadium as well, don't forget. It's
it's
a mad topic.
Yeah, I mean, to give a bit of context, Man United have been owned by the Glazers now for 15 years, maybe 16 years now. And obviously haven't been the best owners. They've sort of been accused of, just taking money continuously out of the club because they're still something like £400 million in debt, which, for a club. Yeah, but to be fair, for a club that size is, mental. They shouldn't be in any debt. The stadium's fallen apart. They've for years not spent as much as their sort of neighbours or rivals on transfers, and it's come back to haunt them in many ways. Now, do I think some Man United fans are, what's the way of putting this that doesn't get me cancelled, expect too much, shall we say? Some certainly do. Some certainly do expect too much. However, it's totally in their right, obviously, free speech to go and protest what they've done. And I don't think there's actually anything wrong with storming the stadium, providing you don't break anything. You're making yourself heard. You got a game postponed. Considered one of the biggest in the UK, if not the world. That's a what's the way to put it? That's going to leave a mark on the owners. That's a way to make them talk up and speak. Obviously, this all came to a head because of the European Super League chat that happened a week or so ago. And I think it's clear and obvious now that just people have had enough and they aren't willing to take more shit, and good on them, I suppose.
Aye, it's without obviously me and you are not Man U fans.
No, we're a wee bit detached from that sort of fan base, shall we say?
But I would be sat here backing it if it was Liverpool.
Yeah.
No, the actions in which they took, like breaking into the stadium, is one thing. Then proceeding to break stuff in that stadium is
that's a step too far.
I mean, breaking into the stadium is automatically you're breaking the law. Needless to say, you should then not proceed to break any items or equipment that's there.
So, I mean, let's face it, those that probably stormed into the stadium are now all going to be given stadium bans for life.
Granted, if they're caught.
I mean, they will be. They're all on camera. It's good.
Aye, but masks and stuff can be very deceiving.
I mean, the UK is like the most watched nations in the world. They'll probably find them, unfortunately for them.
But so you can only condone some of what they've done.
Yeah, and I think
I get why they've done it though. I get why they've went in the stadium and why they've broke stuff is because the police were they were pushing them and hitting them with stuff when it was just a peaceful protest.
Yeah, I think it's important as well to sort of say it's clearly only like a very small minority rather, of people that have ruined it in a way.
Granted, but I mean, let's say the reason of winning at the stadium and they're starting breaking stuff is because the police are trying to usher them away when they're allowed to stand there and make their protest, and then you've got the police pushing you away further and further away from the stadium. I can get why you would be angry because you've got your right to stand and peacefully protest, which is what it started out to be. And then the police got involved a bit too much, and then that's when shit started to hit the fan.
Yeah.
Broke into the stadium, started breaking stuff. That's when the flares and the fireworks and the smoke bombs came out. Let's say it's hard to condone it because of what happened, but at the same time, it's it will see change at Man United. I don't think it'll be Glazers out, so to speak. But they may give up their share to the fans. So
I don't think they'll give it up to the fans.
Absolutely. Do you know the way Rangers have done it? And I think, I don't know why, but I want to say Liverpool.
No, Liverpool aren't owned by fans. I don't think.
They're part owned by fans, I'm sure.
I mean, maybe.
Well, I know Rangers are.
Well, how did Rangers do
it? So when Dave King stepped down, his shares, so he took the money that he invested in his profit margins away, and then he was then left with, like, say, 20% of Rangers. He then gave it to the fans, so it's now a fan. We're half fan. We are 40% fan owned now.
Okay.
So, basically, all it means is decisions can't properly be made without the fans being, made aware of it at minimum. I'm not saying that I'm going to rock up and go, no, you're not buying him, and it's going to make a difference.
Have you got shares in Rangers?
Well, you get shares when you're buying season tickets and stuff.
How much is it? It's like 0.00001%.
It's silly amounts, like nothing. But in general, it's now partly fan owned, which is good. But I don't see a way out for the Glazers other than doing what I've just said. Now, say they've got 80% of the shares, let's just say, right, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Even if they give 40% of that to the fans, take their margins and leave.
Aye.
They're still got 40%, and then they take no ownership. So they'll have 40% of shares, which means they invest yearly and receive their profit margins back. If they do it that way, and then the other 40% goes to fans, I can see the fans being accepting of that. But if you think they're going to take, so let's say, their 80% shares and give it all, you're fucking wrong.
No, I'm not saying that's likely to
happen. No, I know you, but in general,
yeah.
That's what they want, though. That's what they want. They want to go.
Oh, yeah, of course that's what they want. They've wanted them out now for 15, 16 years. I mean, it's all gone tits up, basically. But yeah, it's unfortunate that they're stuck that way. It's, a similar story with, well, it's actually a lot worse for, Newcastle, sort of say, as well.
They got their own way, though.
Oh, sorry?
They got their own way, eventually, though. So,
I mean, Mike Ashley's still there, though.
He's still there, but he doesn't mind his shares in the club aren't profit margins, it's just investments.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you see how little he invests every year into that.
Aye, but that's fine. It's because he gave up their shares, so now other people can buy their shares.
Yeah.
They just kind of get a takeover because he's still investing. So, say he owns 20% of the club, he puts in that minimum investment each year, but because he's still got 20% of investment in that club, the takeover that was going to happen, say it was like 90%, that's why it all fell through.
Okay.
As well as the Premier League never allowed it because they're arseholes.
I've just realised this last 5 minutes of you chatting, it's like how I imagine if a banker ever talks to me, I'm just going to be sitting there like...
Aye, but shares in the club, that's how it works to an extent.
Aye.
But Newcastle got their own way in the sense that what's his name? Mike Ashley can't make decisions anymore.
Yeah.
So, if the stadium is fixed, then he can't choose whether it does or not.
Aye, but that's a problem as well, though, because they're now stuck in like this limbo hell because they can't get rid of them because no one can buy it now.
well, no fucking oil. There's no fucking oil. Sheik cunt going to come in and just invest 60% in a club like Newcastle. It's going to need to be.
Well, they were going to mind, and then it got blocked.
Oh, they weren't going to. They were wanting a full 80. They were wanting like full 80 or 100%. I can't even remember what it was.
Aye, but he was going to sell at one point.
Oh no, he was. No, he had to sell. That's what I'm saying. They got their own way. They had to sell, but he had to sell his shares at very minimum.
Yeah.
I can't remember how much it was. But like, see when Man City got took over years and years ago, what's his name?
Sheikh Mansour.
Sure. He came in and wanted 100% of the club and nothing less. And then that's when the previous owners gave up their shares and took their profit margins and left. And then he came in and took the full 100% of the club.
Right.
So it was the same purpose for Man City. Like, the guy wanted to take everything, even though he couldn't, because Mike Ashley was still investing his minimum amount.
Right.
Stupid the way it works, but plus the Premier League blocked it because they're dickheads.
Yeah. You see as well, it's fucking like... I mean, I seen somewhere that it was like the Glazers wouldn't sell less. It was like £3 billion worth that they offered for it. Just fucking for Man United.
The Glazers are asking for $3 million.
Apparently they wanted Apparently they would only consider selling their shares for £3 billion.
That's funny.
$3 billion.
The company's not even worth that.
I mean,
the actual brand Man United is not worth $3 billion.
I think you say that, it might be.
No, it's not. They wouldn't have been £400 million worth of debt if it was worth that.
No, because the reason they are in that much debt is because the Glazers keep taking money out of the club, or at least used to, and that's why.
But they're obviously doing the minimum investments.
Yeah,
to still be there. But at the same time, their shares are maybe worth $3 billion, but the brand in the company isn't worth $3 billion. Which begs the question.
Well, I mean, you're always going to highball anyway when you're like
absolutely. But it's whether you
highball at $3 billion.
Exactly. They'll get a Sheikh Mansour. It'll be a case of that with Man United.
You think that'll happen at some point?
They'll get a takeover, but it'll be a 60-40 split or whatever. Yeah. Whatever the Glazers are willing to give up.
So instead of being owned by one terrible set of people, they'll be owned by two terrible sets of people.
No, but you say that, look at Man City's success.
Oh yeah, but you look at any sort of ethical practices of the people that Man City.
Ethical being one and plastic being the other.
I mean, it's actually an ethical billionaire out there if you think about it. Do you think there's like a proper sound billionaire out there?
Bill Gates is sound.
Well, he's getting divorced as well, so think about how much money his wife's about to him.
Aye, surely there's a prenup in there somewhere.
Don't know.
For his sake, I'd fucking hope so. Well, who was it? The guy, Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, when his wife got divorced from him, she became the richest woman on the planet.
Aye, that's you've made it. Like she has done bits right there. It's one of those ones though. It's somebody like billionaires. It's not going to be so. For example, it's not going to be Jeff Bezos that comes across and goes, "Oh, you know what? I'll buy him for $3 billion because it's nice going to have my teeth." That's the way you can look at it, but you'll not look at it because it's a terrible investment. Like people always but that's the thing though. People always say like, why is it always like the Arab sheiks and stuff that come over and take over?
They want a toy.
and it's because they have that much fucking money that they can invest $3 billion in a club like Man U and never worry about it again. Like, that's them literally dodging tax. There's $3 billion. My tax year looks so much better because I gave you $3 billion.
It's only $1 billion now this year.
It's like, it's ridiculous that the difference that $3 billion means to them. Whereas Jeff Bezos, like, he puts $3 billion in that. That's a terrible investment for him. He's never going to lose money in it, but he's never going to make money.
I think I'm going to message Jeff Bezos and ask him for $100,000. Just prove he's a sound cunt. I mean, come on, prove that you're a sound cunt. Come on, that's like what, 10 quid to you?
100%. But I was in for ethical billionaires. I mean, there's very little out there. I mean, Man City had that scandal where they were training players with Celtic's boy clubs. And do you not remember that now?
No.
So there was basically
and the viewers.
Players were coming from Man City on loan to Celtic boy club, and they were sending out players on loan just to learn.
Yeah.
And then all the stuff came out about the pedo rings. So Man City, what happened was, so four kids went into Manchester City, trained with their youth academy, and apparently 4 of them reported, and more, there has been more, but 4 of them that went there reported like being sexually exploited by the adults, and the 4 that came from Man City to the Celtic Boys Club also reported sexual involvement with the staff. So I needless to say this. What?
How long ago is this?
I don't know. I'll Google after this. But so the scandal came out, and then Man City paid off all the families, and Celtic didn't, because Man City's got so much money. So Man City never got heard about, whereas Celtic's got, which is wrong. And I mean, I'm glad. Fuck them. But at the same time, Man City had the leeway to just go, there's £1 million each. Sorry for what happened. And it's
a mad situation, right? See if obviously it's not, I don't want to get too tasteless about this sort of thing, but say if you were in that position, right, and you were offered a ridiculous sum of money.
Yep.
How do you think you would feel? Because it would hurt not to take it as well. No jokes in this. It would actually really hurt not to take it.
It's a bit of a mad situation, because obviously, me and you have blessed enough never to be in a situation, but if it fucks you up for life, apparently.
I imagine.
And if it does, no matter the amount of money and luxury you live, you'll always know what happened, or you'll always have that memory. You would take it, because I think you'd be daft naughty. But at the same time, so say they offered you £1 million, right? You're honestly going to tell me you're going to go, nah, I'm going to take this fucking further. It's going to get you nowhere, and you're not going to get your £1 million.
Yeah, but obviously there are some people that want to, and I have a lot of respect for those people that do want to be like, nah, do you know what? That you aren't getting out of this, basically. I know it will be hard, but do you know what? Fuck you, and fuck your money and what you stand for.
So, just while we're on the subject, Barry Bennell victim slams Man City's careless child sex beast slaying, blah blah blah. Child sex abuse football and ex-Man City player on loan from Celtic Boys Club alleged paedophilia within. His name was Jason Dumford, and that was in 2016.
So it wasn't that long ago, actually.
And then this year, March 17th, 2021, Man City's child sex abuse responses. Oh, fucking hell, hold on. So Man City's child sexual abuse response was wholly inadequate. Basically, allegations of child sexual abuse were met with a wholly inadequate response by Manchester City, who failed to involve the police, or report was not found as well. So the club inquiry examining by the paedophile youth coach Barry Bennell and 2 other convicted abusers it was found that the bosses were worried that the club's reputation could possibly losing young players by Bennell had been brought in. Needless to say, Bennell was sacked immediately. Man City said that they wish to apologise publicly and unreservedly for any beneficial gain they receive from this, which is a good touch, by the way. People need to understand that. So like any benefit they get from the publicity was all going to the victims as well.
Right.
Now, it's horrible what happened, but that, for a club point of view, there's not much they can do other than apologise and compensate.
Yeah,
because it's not a club behind this; it's an individual.
Yeah, it's not like they would. Well, you'd fucking hope at least that they
Well,
would go out their way to
I mean,
employ someone with a dodgy track record.
The truth is, there's reports being made that goes to higher ups and higher ups and higher ups. Now it's not been dealt with, so you could blame the club if you wish. The findings have been published. Blah blah blah. It's reported that there is a sex ring still active and even to this year, and has been going since 1971. Is what the allegations are. And they're in cohorts with Celtic Boys Club, who have also had endless amounts of reports of this stuff happening. So the reason I bring it up though is purely because of the money situation we'll talk about there.
Nah.
So like, I just want to put it into this perspective, right? Glazers is a family, right? Let's say, right, for argument's sake, this was to happen at Man United, right? It wouldn't be hush money. Do you know what I mean? I truly believe Man United would deal with it, based on their owners alone, would deal with it in a better manner than just some Arabs going, oh, I get him £1 million, hush money. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, if the Glazers had that in their own backyard, they'd be like,
it's
scandalous. Do you know what I mean?
It's a show of like, they're clearly used to doing this. It's not just like, because most people wouldn't think out of the blue if they've done something wrong, right? Okay, there's £1 million, basically.
Aye, exactly. Aye, it's horrible. What's happened, but as compensation, that's fine. But as hush money, it's definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, that's at the end of the day, it's what it is. There's nothing good about it. Yeah,
because what's the Glazers? There was two of them, weren't there?
Yeah, I can't remember their names.
Was Malcolm on it? I can't remember.
Is it Joel?
Aye, so there was two. I think about with the brothers.
Yeah, the brothers.
So Malcolm Glazer.
So
I can't find his fucking brothers now.
Maybe it wasn't a brother. Maybe it was like a cousin or something.
Anyway, it's family. Like whether people want to admit it or not, it's a family-owned business. Oh, his name is Avram. You were well wrong.
Who's the one that was on Liverpool's website then, talking about it all on the European Super League?
No idea. So you know, and being a family-owned business, like this guy's. So the Glazers have got kids of their own, and if you think that for a second that Man United or them alone would allow that to run.
Yeah, it's Joe Glazer as well.
Is that another? So there's three of them.
There's more of them then. Yeah, it must be the whole family connected with it.
Aye, well they've got kids, so that's the reason you somewhat bring it up is because if you've got kids of your own and you're British or American, you understand more than a third world country that you're the wealthiest in that country, such as Sheikh Mansour. Like, he has no financial issues. He's in a country in which that sort of stuff is allowed. That's, do you know what I'm saying? So, like, if it was Man U...
You can relate to it more. Even more if you are beyond the point of... But so, like... If you are in these, and it's obviously not the same for everyone because some folk are delusional as well. But I do get what you are saying though, in the sense that these people, those that have kids and those that are right at the top, as shitty people as they might be for the decisions they make, they will still probably see the effect that it has in a sense.
100%.
And in a country like Abu Dhabi or the Arab Emirates or wherever it might be, yes, there is probably a bigger disparity between the rich and the poor, But you can also, these people are literal princes, you know, they're considered royalty, you know, which these people are just business owners in a sense.
You could get married to a child in like these countries, whereas over here, that shit is not only frowned upon, but you'd be killed for shit like that.
And rightly so.
So I understand the frustration for Man United, but the Glazers have done a lot for Man United that I think they forget about during the spell that, you know, they've been there. You can argue, but the titles speak for themselves back in the day.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, that's been now, you know, it's coming near 10 years since they won a title.
No, granted, but the run that they had was good, to say the least. I believe it's coming to the end of the tenure for them.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it goes.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's probably just going to be owned by some other dodgy cunt at the end of the day.
Most likely. Most likely it's going to be the way. But whatever it is, I hope it's a shite outcome for them. I hope they get another fucking dud. But what I believe will happen is there'll be another shite man sewer situation. They'll get a big dodgy Arab and to do their money, which is fine, because it's only a matter of time before most of the Prem goes that way, which is a fucking nightmare. But it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not my club, and long may it continue. Fuck them, Glazers in.
Not better, or, you know, in a biased way at all. Yeah. Well, it actually goes on a bit more to it, you know, speaking about money. We are having this discussion in work today. The typical, you know, imagine what you could do with the lottery if you ever won it, right?
Right.
So I'm going to give you a couple of things here, a couple of scenarios we both have to answer. I'm curious to hear about your decisions going forward. Now, Jamie, you wake up, you get a message, you've just won £10 million of tax-free income. First thing, what's the very first thing you are buying right that minute?
So is it materialistic you're wanting, or are you wanting
anything? You have literally just won £10 million. Was the very first thing you buy? You wake up, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, you've just seen 10 million quid, you've won. So
what's the first thing I do with it?
Yeah, first thing you very do.
Pay off any outstanding mortgages or debts that my mum has.
No.
That's what I mean. I'm talking.
Yeah,
you talking Maria?
I'm talking the very first thing you do. So that's whether if you know you order a big fuck off breakfast for yourself. If you actually would just get up and drive to Glasgow and buy an Aston Martin, what would you do with that money?
So that's what I'm saying. Do you want materialistic?
It's up to you. What do you think? What do you honestly believe you would do if you?
Honestly, if I got that text, the first thing I would do is get in touch with like whoever my mum's mortgage or whatever deals with, and I would pay off their mortgage straight away. Yeah. But if you're wanting materialistic, like, it's the first thing I would buy.
No, that's a solid plan, because I mean I've always said that I would pay off my mum and now my dad's as well mortgage if I ever won the lottery. I think it's a good thing for a child to do, so to speak.
Hell, man, try to put his bastard on the bars and it would take the piss. That would be like the first non-materialistic thing I would do. But if you wanted like a materialistic thing, well, fuck you. I would.
That's so very nice.
If you were wanting like a materialistic thing, I would do is I would buy. First off, buy my dad his car that he's always wanted, a Mustang, and I would probably
an old one or a new one?
Aye. So I'd probably get a matching one, to be honest.
A new one.
Aye, fucking hell! She just won the lottery.
No, I didn't know if you meant like the classic Mustang.
Oh no, I would buy a brand new custom made fucking Mustang. You better believe it. But I'm
actually surprised by that, because I mean, like, don't get me wrong, they're expensive cars, but they're obviously not like supercar level expensive sort of thing.
We've always liked them, but like if I'm not a massive fan of supercars, to be fair. Like it's not something that's interesting me.
my granddad for a brief time lived in Canada in the early 70s, and he was tasked one day by his wife to go out and buy my gran obviously to go and buy a VW Beetle, and he came back with a '67 Mustang.
What a man!
he knew what he was doing.
What a man! There was this. I know you're not a fan of TikTok, right? But there was this interesting. Well, no, it's not interesting. But there was this page that came. It's not interesting. I don't know why I said that. There was this page that I came across, and it was like you have to choose one or the other here, and it was like girl or car, and they would put out like a fucking hot lassie or whatever. You choose between the lassie or the car, right? I thought, well, this is easier. Just take the car. Like that's what I thought. Right? Now hear me out. This is what I thought, right? So the first one I seen was, you know, that Charlie D'Amelio or whatever.
Oh, the TikToker.
Aye.
Right.
So you either choose her. Or
isn't she a bear?
No, sister is Dixie, I think her name is. She's like underage. Fuck's sake, man. I wish I never brought the fucking topic up. Hold on.
Right, okay, anyway, sorry.
No, I'm fucking finding it now, you cunt.
All I'm saying is it's a bit of a nonsense page if it's said to go out with a child.
I bear in mind it's probably a wee guy that fucking runs it though.
Probably.
So Dixie D'Amelio, right, is 19.
Okay.
So she's the one that's of age, right?
Right. Is that the one that was on that page?
Aye.
Right.
Charlie is 17. So obviously here it's legal. Nonsense, but legal. Whereas there, that's a total fucking...
that is a you will get a shotgun.
Aye. So anyway, and it was between her and like an M8, a BMW M8 Sport or fucking whatever, right? Never, give me the car. Easy, right? I'm not wanting to be fucking 90-year-old lassie TikToker, fuck that, give us a car. But then the next one was like Madison Beer, right?
No. And
the car was a Ferrari 835 or something.
You really do like go through some shite, don't
right,
you?
Hear me out. And I was like, I'm taking the bird all day long. Madison Beer is fucking, she's a gem. And she'll fucking buy me that car. Happy days.
Right, okay.
There's a way I seen it. But I thought it was mad, right? The reason I bring it up is because I thought it was mad that people are so creative. They're so creative.
That's always uncreative fucking.
No, it's such a great app. Like, people
would you rather have lassie or car? Ooh.
Great app. There's a few more. I'm not going to go through them now. I'll tell you what, I'll send you them later.
No, please don't.
Fucking great app, man. Great app.
Okay, so...
And it leads us on to our next topic. Well, not right now, but it leads us on to the next topic. The one I sent you before.
You can't say that and then not go on to the next.
All right, fine.
That's
right,
not
fine.
how a segue works.
Right, fine. So we'll segue in it, right? Here we go. So, TikTok, right? You'll learn from it. Not only is it entertaining, not only is it full of banter, not only do you find out brilliant fucking videos and great ideas and superb content, but we also learn, right? And what we learned today was Discord has made a partnership with PlayStation. Lo and behold, the gaming world has required this partnership for years, and we're being graced with it.
But before we continue, by the way, I will give you respect. You did recover it. Well done. But that was beforehand the worst segue of all of the humankind.
See, segues are for fucking wanks, mate.
That's why you're so bad.
Right.
Anyway, but it is actually a good thing. I mean, like, to give a bit of context, me, Jamie, and well, actually, I haven't played clubs in a while now, to be honest. But it used to be the bane of existence, getting guys on the laptops or on their phones to chat through Discord to play on the PlayStation. Yep. Now, thankfully, there's a way to solve all that. How long did it say before it was coming out? Was it 2022 or something?
Aye, sure. They aim to get it out this year, but it'll most likely be 2022. It's pretty much in time for the actual PS5 to be fully launched. So obviously the PS5's out and it's still out of stock, literally. But,
is it actually? I'm genuinely not looking.
Aye, so it's still out of stock in 90% of places. But It's like
they fucked that, by the way, so bad.
aye, but I mean the waiting list now is like 4 to 6 weeks, so it's getting doing a lot, to be fair. But anyway, they made the partnership, and bear in mind that PS5 launched with about 6 main titles.
Still somehow better than Xbox.
Aye, and now there's pretty much 80%. No, what is it? I think it's 82% of games that's on PS4 can now be played on PS5.
Right.
And it'll be a full 100% by the end of 2021, going on to 2022.
Can you plug in the old, if you have the disc version, can you just put in the old discs and that? Does it still work?
Yeah, I don't know if it's backwards compatible. I don't know. I'm not sure. But everything's available from the App Store now. Right. Or, you know, they're equivalent to the App Store, PlayStation Store, whatever it's called. As well as, obviously, all the main titles and future titles will be available on PS5 as of the end of this year, going into 2022. And that's when Discord have kind of said that they'll happily partner up and be in time for the launch of PS5.
It's actually going to be a bit weird, though, because, I mean, like, not everyone, but I know a few folk that struggle with Discord whenever we try it, and like the thought of them trying to make it more compatible.
Well, I've seen it as soon as I seen it. I obviously sent you use it, and then I read up on it briefly. It's going to be the simplified version, so it's going to be basically you know what Xbox and Minecraft have got.
Yeah, I like that.
So when you sign into your Microsoft account, you can go on a party. Whether you're on PC or Xbox, you could cross-platform in an Xbox party regardless of what network you're on.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like that, but a simplified version. So see how you have got in your Discord, you've got your server, and then you've got your sub servers or whatever you're calling them. That's not going to be there. It's going to be a server, and then you're going to have party chat, private chat, and that's it.
Does that mean they're getting rid of PlayStation Live chat then?
No. So that's staying for single platform, right, for what I read. But it might just merge into one towards the end. Bear in mind, they're still, they're probably working on this for years, but it's big. Like Microsoft got Skype, so it was inevitable PlayStation were going to get the actual good platform.
The actual good one.
Aye. It's always the same though, isn't it? It's like PlayStation always get the better of the...
Yeah, I mean, I know you and me disagree, but I think you're the only cunt in history that actually thinks the PS3 was better than the Xbox 360. But I mean, that's like in my opinion, the one time Xbox actually was better than
it was the one time they competed. Now it's plain sailing, and it'll never go back. It's
embarrassing.
Aye, like literally embarrassing. And same with the mind of what was that one that came out for Google? Stadia.
Oh yeah, didn't you get that?
I've still got it.
No, you don't.
Aye.
You actually, can I see it? It's like a relic, probably at this point.
Hold on.
Most of our viewers will probably be too young to know what Google Stadia is. So. Yeah.
On the dust off it.
On a real though, you should actually keep that just because, probably in 10 years' time, it might be worth something as like a relic.
Boom. Google Stadia, ladies and gentlemen.
That was potentially the biggest fucking fail of a business I've ever seen in my entire life.
Boom.
It's actually a nice controller, to be fair.
It is a good controller. Easy for playing claw on as well. Yeah. But I mean, all I used it to this, I'm not gonna lie, it was the Type-C cable you got for charging, as well as right, as well as you got a Google Chromecast Pro.
My man spent 150 quid.
No, never.
How much was it?
I got it for 40 quid off. One of my work colleagues who got it. Right. You got it brand new. Never used it.
I mean, to be fair, a Google Chromecast is about 40 quid, so you know.
Aye, that's literally what he charged me for. It was like, fuck the rest of it. What was that? Okay. No bother. I'll take it. But this was at the point though they were bringing out COD as a title on it.
Did folk actually play on it? Is it actually still thin, or is it a dead service now?
Nah, it's got their servers are at capacity all the time because their servers can only handle, so for multiplayer, their servers can only handle, I think it's think it's only 120,000 people.
You know, as well, weirdly as well, like, because Stirling now actually has that gigafast thing, you could probably use it and it'd be fine in Stirling.
100%, aye.
But anywhere else in the country, you're
So
fucked.
Google Stadia cloud gaming service. It's been launched for 17 months.
Has it actually only been out for that long? I genuinely thought it came out in like 2016.
No fucking danger. As of April 31st,
Oh, so recent.
Stadia is a lonely place and it's on the verge of cancellation due to not enough players. Some of the top gaming companies have pulled out. Wow.
Nice.
So but like even that and like Nintendo and stuff, they struggle massively now. It's kind of the whole gaming side of things is run by PC and PlayStation.
Well, that's the thing though, right? I bought a fucking Switch like I think it was like the year after it came out. So I've had one now for about 3 or 4 years. And don't get me wrong, right? See, like if like cunts around, it is a great console, like to play like party games on, like for like.
If you put it onto the telly, do you mean?
Yeah. It's great, like for that, for like Mario Party and like.
It's a banging concept as well. Just tiny wee controllers, plug it in using a dong station. It's proper super effective.
It's great, and when it came out, I never played it, but I know Breath of the Wild was meant to be a great game on it. But like since then, I genuinely cannot think of like games that have been released on it.
You know, some of the titles that came out with Stadia, right, were like fucking phenomenal. Like I seen one of the games. It was like the equivalent to Assassin's Creed, but honestly looked about 10 times better.
Yeah.
But because it was on a platform that no one used and nobody know about, it never went anywhere. But genuinely looked unbelievable. So it was mad. I can't remember what the game's called, but it was crazy. Do you know that game? Is it Valorant or Valiant?
Valorant, yeah.
You know that was meant to be a Stadia title.
Oh, was it?
So it was originally meant to be theirs.
I played it for a bit. Fucking hard.
So I don't know who's got it now. I don't know if it's a Steam.
It's Riot.
Riot, and is it Steam exclusive?
No, it's Riot only. Riot Games.
Is it Riot exclusive? Yeah. I thought they'd sold to Private Investigator. Private Vista. But it's mad. Like Stadia was like genuinely, because obviously you'll not know, but like what will happen is like in Liam's line of work as well as mine now is you'll get like people coming in from Samsung. You'll get like your ambassadors coming in and showing you what's coming out, prior to it coming out and stuff. And you will get information on stuff that looks fucking incredible, but never ever hits surface. So like there was
like, like when car like makers make their prototype cars and they all look futuristic and incredible, they look nothing like it.
Like there was one time Samsung came in and they were planning on launching speakers that were like 40 times better than any speakers on the market because they partnered up with Sony and Bose and what's the other one? Sonos. Like they partnered up with the four and it was going to be like this fucking mega speaker. It was incredible for everything. Never happened. Just never happened. Still, by the way, that's 4 years ago and I'm still yet to see it.
Did they bring a concept?
They brought the concept in, played it and it sounded good. But it was like
40 times better, but yeah.
but it sounded very good. Like it was really loud and stuff, and it was crystal clear. You could adjust the bass, and
you should ask them for that speaker.
That gets destroyed after they've done all his visits. Like it's fucking stupid. But see what will happen is people come in with like the S22 for example.
Yeah.
When or if it comes out, they'll come in and you'll see it.
Yeah.
You'll sign a disclosure to say you can't talk about it. Or anything like that.
So much for that.
Right? And then two weeks later, they'll be like, talk about it as much as you want.
I was about to say, I just came on a podcast. I was about to say, if you didn't add that bit at the end, it's just like, so I signed this thing I'm not going to talk about. Anyway, reminds me of like the second of our podcast when you talked about that dodgy judge, and I was just like, oh, we're fucked. This is the beginning
but it's class, like, some of the things you see and stuff or hear about it and never surfaces in mind now. But Stadia was a flop.
No half.
But massive deal for Discord and PlayStation.
Yeah. Listen, do you have anything else you want to bring up for today?
No.
I was going to say we could keep continuing with this if you want to be a millionaire, but I was thinking as we were talking, we could actually potentially make it into like an episode with Dylan.
Wait, what?
Just like going over, like we could plan out, like, you know, what would you do if you're a millionaire? Because I'm
What would be your first thing?
First ever purchase would also be the same as you would be, like to
Paying off any family stuff. No.
Pay off my mum's mortgage would be the very first.
And what would be your first materialistic spend?
Aston Martin.
Really, man, I've just not got an interest in Aston Martins.
Mate,
I know you get it for the Bond films though, but like
that's always where I got it from. But genuinely, that biased aside, I've always thought they were the most stunning looking cars that have ever been made. And
I genuinely believe the Tesla hatchback is so much nicer looking than some Aston Martins.
Oh man,
Aye, true.
No,
definitely.
But yeah, no, like I'm telling you for a fact, I'd be straight onto Nationwide. I'd pay off my mum's mortgage, and then I'd be on a train to Edinburgh, and I'd be in the Aston Martin shop next to them.
Do you know I seen a car today, right? That is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Right? It was a Volkswagen Arteon. Like, why is that even a car that comes into somebody's mind? The R range, honestly, see after the podcast, Google it. It's fucking gorgeous. And I don't know why. It's just beautiful. And I'd shag it, pretty much. But
well, on that note, Jamie's about to shag at cars. I've got a title for the podcast. I'll be a fun thumbnail to make tonight.
Right, true. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, I forgot one more thing before we end. You may have seen the elephant in the room. We are not in the same room as we said we would be last week.
You can blame Liam for that one.
No, you cannot blame Liam for that. You can blame fucking SNP, which I know that you love to do, so you can enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Nicola.
Basically, prior to this, the rules were you can it's up to 6 people could be in a household, but has to be of 2 different households. Which is fine for me and Jamie. Obviously, if a guest was in, it meant that we're back to Zoom, which, you know, isn't great, but it's fine. And then the wonderful third host, Dylan, then sent a new updated memo since that last one, saying that we're fucked until the 17th of May, so it's the 4th this week. So next week we'll have another guest on this, and then afterwards we should be in person.
Maybe.
Famous last words.
Aye.
Maybe.
Just as the closure. Maybe.
That's Jamie's legally binding term for this episode.
Mate, fuck knows. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Either in 2 weeks you're going to see me and Jamie on Zoom, or you're going to potentially see us in the studio, which would be lovely.
We'll see what happens.
Getting a neck on red. Actually, do you know what? It actually suits me if it is that week, because then it means that I'm off work afterwards.
Not bad for you, Brooke.
I know, but it's fine because, you know, we're gonna have a drink. Like,
I'm glad we're not doing it this Saturday, to be fair, because Rangers left the title, and I don't think I'm going to be able to stand. So,
well, either way, we'll basically see you next week then with a guest on Zoom.
Yes.
Until then, I've been Liam Whyte.
And I've been Jamieallan.
Catch us next week. Goodbye.
We talk football and current events, sitting and chatting with the very best guests, with 2 Scottish boys and we're loving it. So if you like witty banter, check the former #1 podcast on iTunes. Sitting and chatting.